Okay, hi, welcome everyone. So last video I was talking a little bit about Rust documentation. So today we're going to continue with examples in the documentation. So let me just set things up. So we split term PowerShell. I'm going to have a cargo watch xdoc in one of them. Open a new tab. Okay, I'm going to do a term PowerShell. And here I'm going to do cargo, maybe, yeah, I'll do the cargo watch x run over here and cargo watch x dock in the second one. Okay, so that's it. So yeah, the lint is still warning us that there are a few things to take note of. So and of course, last but not least, I will need to open up okay, so PowerShell. Okay, I will need to open up explorer.exe in this specific folder. So I need to go to target and go to the documentations. And I will again need to look for what is this what is the proper documentation for this particular crate or this particular folder. It's called Rust Concurrency Playground. So I will go there, cd Rust Concurrency Playground. And what I'll do here is I'll open up Firefox, or I can just do this, Firefox index.html. All right, Firefox index.html. Oh, Firefox is not even here. If that doesn't work, explorer.exe here, and then open up Firefox from the Explorer. Okay, apparently PowerShell is not picking that up for some reason. So here we have it. So yes, let's go on and we'll just make some documentation for code examples. Okay, so what can I do? So right here, remember this is the last time I had a serial sum to 1 billion. Now I'm going to do this documentation for parallel sum to 1 billion. So 17 down, ZZ. So in this function, I sum, okay. So maybe I'll just delete some of this because it's not really that important. DIW, change, sum approx to 1 billion. Okay, I'll X this. Okay, sum to approx to 1 billion integers using a for loop. So that is that. For this function, I sum it using 2 threads. Here I have actually 2 threads. So let me just explain. Okay, the code explanation will come later. I'll just do documentation. I'll show you how to put some code examples there. Put some code examples there, and we'll start from there. Okay, so we can here I sum it using 2 threads. Okay, 2 threads only. It is a parallel calculation. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to reload my Firefox. Okay, so reload the Firefox and I have a parallel sum to 1 billion. And this is the documentation. Sum approx to 1 billion integers using a for loop. For this function, I sum using 2 threads only. It is a parallel calculation. So that is the description. Now, to get documentation here, let me close this. To get documentation here, how are you supposed to do it? Okay, so these are what we call documentation tests. So for your code examples, you can actually use the triple backticks with the Rust thing in front. So that will make a Rust code block like so, and you can just write Rust code in there, and it will display nicely in here. Okay, it will display nicely in here. Okay, so here it is. I'll just demonstrate to you. For example, if I want to do a Rust code block for this particular function, just use triple backtick, 1, 2, 3 backticks, put the Rust thing down here. Okay, this is optional, but I like to put the Rust code down here just to be extra sure. I mean, it makes it very explicit to the user or whoever who's reading this code that this is Rust code. Okay, so to use this thing, well, what do we need? Okay, So this is the function parallel sum to 1 billion. We don't really need to do anything. So I can just say let sum equals to parallel sum to 1 billion. And then I'll do this. And after that, I can do some sort of a print line over here. Okay, I'll use this parallel sum to 1 billion. I'll just copy and paste this code, which just prints line here. And I can go here, go down, replace this with triple // and it will have this print line thing down here. So when I reload this, okay, we will have this very nice code block here. Okay, let sum equals parallel sum to 1 billion. So this is the function used, and we print the line. So this is how you actually put code examples in Rust. Okay, and the nice thing about Rust documentation is that when you make these code blocks, you can actually run them as a test. So in theory, okay, I don't have to use cargo watch x run. I can also run cargo watch, okay, execute the test command. Okay, unfortunately, as you see here, this thing will not run my main function. That's one. Second thing, you notice that over here we have 0 tests. Okay, why is it the case? Right? Normally, when you write code like this and you do the cargo test or cargo watch x test, it is supposed to run code within here. Okay, reason why is because this code is inside the main.rs code, so it will not run. Okay, this is an issue some people have complained about. Okay, some people have complained about it in Git. Okay, for example, doc tests do not work in bin targets, non-public items 50784. So if you run this test here, okay, for example, you put this documentation with triple backticks and Rust, assert false, this is supposed to fail, but the document comment code never ran. Okay, it didn't run. So that is a problem. That is a problem that has been there for several years. It is still, as you can see, open, so it's not really quite solved just yet. So the only workaround as of, I'm in 2022 now, the only workaround now is just to, okay, put everything into the library file. Okay, you're supposed to run those documentation tests within the Rust libraries, and that's how you are supposed to do it. So how do you change something that has a main file into something with library? So there are a few things we need to do. So I'm going to do some things here, and of course credits to the website here, dev2yj.doc something like that. So these are some of the instructions I'm following. Okay, so one thing first is to make a library.rs. So for example, hey, from main project. Okay, where's the main project? Yeah, from light project. From a binary project. Okay, so we started with a main.rs, and we are compiling a binary executable. So this is technically a binary project. So what we want to do now is to add a library folder, and I'll add a light.rs file there. Okay, so first go to your source. Okay, I'm going to use nerd3 to do it. You can use it during you can use VS Code or File Explorer. That's fine. I'm going to add a child node. I'll call this source light. Okay, and then I'll have a library folder here, and I'll add a light.rs right here. Okay, and the light.rs is just this empty file here with nothing really inside. Okay, so I can do ABC123. It will complain here. Okay, so there will be no errors here because I did not even include this in my library. So there are a few things I actually need to do to sort of make this officially part of the project. Okay, so we'll just follow the instructions here. We'll need to add the binary key inside the cargo.toml file. Okay, so I go to the cargo.toml file. Here I will need to put this. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste this here. Okay, Ctrl+Shift+V, yeah. So what's the program name? Okay, I'll just call it Rust Concurrency Playground, and it will be, the path will be source binary.rs. Okay, bin.rs. Okay, there is no oh, pardon me, actually I should just put main.rs down there. That's what I did with my last project. So this is the main Rust file. So this bin.rs is your binary file name. I will just replace this with main.rs right here. So that's one. Second is that I need to put in the library. Okay, the library name will be here, and the path will be source light.rs. Okay, this is actually, okay, we find our file here, source light.rs. This is the correct file path. So we'll just copy this whole cell and paste this here. What's my library name? Rust concurrency library. Rust concurrency. Okay, I'll just call it Rust concurrency playground library. Okay, and that's it. Well, there are a few more steps I need to do. Okay, so after this, any pub functions or modules in light.rs will be available as the library. So now you can use your library in your binary, just as you use any other dependency. So what's the library name here? Okay, the library name is what we define over here, Rust concurrency playground library. Okay, and we'll just use this here. And go to the top, and then I will use, okay, I'll have to put this here, Rust import Rust functions from library. So what's the library name? Just now we used Rust concurrency playground library. This is the library we ought to use. Okay, so now actually it's good because we can start shifting functions over to the Rust concurrency playground library. So it says that the import is unused. It will not be unused for long. So I can, for example, shift this parallel sum over. This is a public function. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to put this in the light.rs right here. Okay, write all. I'm going to save all my files. Okay, so there are a few errors here. One of them is the MPSC thing is missing here. So I needed to have my MPSC and my thread modules here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, I have to have these here. These are for parallel threads, parallel computations. That's why I forgot to import my package. But other than that, everything is there. So I'll put my things here, save, and things should compile nicely. All right, so, right. And the other thing here is, yeah, I need to import my crates properly. So in my main folder, I have it in number 8, I believe. Is it number 8 or is it number 7? 67? Yeah, parallel sum to 1 billion. I need to make it part of the correct crate. So it's the Rust concurrency playground library crate. Oops. Rust concurrency playground library crate, parallel sum to 1 billion. So that's what I'll do it here. This thing should work. Okay, and then there's one more. Where is this? Parallel sum to 1 billion. Okay. And it's also asking me to import the function over here under source light.rs. Where is it? So this is line number 8, which means here it's in the document test. So I need to import this as well. So what's the library to import? Okay, the compiler already tells us, so we don't have to think so much. Rust concurrency playground library, parallel sum to 1 billion. Okay. After this, okay, there's still a few things. Okay, it says that the parallel sum is not found in this scope. So this sum here, I'll just replace it as parallel sum. Okay, and now the test is complete. It is run successfully. Okay, so this thing has to take about 10-ish seconds, or is this 15 seconds on this computer? So we'll have to wait about 15 seconds, and you see it is run and it has passed. So you go here. Here we go here. Oh, okay. So let me open it from Explorer again, because I have changed the libraries. I have changed the way the code is structured. Probably the way everything is all the code documentation is structured will be different. So you see here we have two things: Rust concurrency playground, which this here will contain things that will yeah, this right here will contain documentation from the main.rs file. Okay, so you'll have parallel sum to 1000, serial sum to 1 billion, serial sum to 1000. All of this is here. But the parallel sum to 1 billion is missing because it's I put it into the other crate. Okay, and then it will be in the other side of the documentation. So here's our main file. Nothing's really done here. Okay, so we don't have the documentation in this file for the Rust library. So we'll have to look inside the Rust library file. So under documentation, you'll see this thing here called Rust Concurrency Playground Library. So go here. Under your index, this is where your parallel sum to 1 billion will be found. Click it and you'll see that here is the documentation. Okay, it has this code block here which you can copy and paste. It should work correctly. Now, as long as you have the crate in the file. Okay. So yes, here is the thing, and the nice thing about running cargo watch -x test, we execute the test command, is that it will make sure that all your code that you put here, you literally let the compiler run it and this will be run as if it's a test, so that any code you type here will be run through and you'll know that it works. Okay, so this is the nice thing about this documentation tests, that as soon as you run it, you do a cargo watch -x test on it, you'll know that the code here actually works. Okay, so that's very convenient. Okay, and that's the nice thing about this. And of course, you need to run cargo watch -x dot at the same time. So cargo watch execute the test, cargo watch execute doc, put them together, and you'll be writing documentation, I guess, in a very smooth thing while everything else compiles in the background. So it's very convenient. And yeah, this is pretty much what I want to demonstrate for this video, that by running these two commands and continuously writing documentation, you can do documentation tests, you can do your standard documentation. It shouldn't be that much of a hassle. You just kind of got to keep pressing reload here, and it should be fine. Okay, so I think that's all for this video. Hope it's helpful, useful, and this is my style of writing Rust documentation for my code within NeoVim or Vim. Yeah, I suppose you can do the same with VS Code as long as you open 2 instances of PowerShell, and that should be fine. Okay, I'll see you next time.